Creation Science Evangelism presents Creation in Common Sense with Eric Hovind.
Welcome to Creation in Common Sense. I'm your host, Eric Hovind. What is a Humanzee? And would it prove that humans and chimpanzees are related? Disturbing.
Yes.
Joining me to talk about this are two guys from our creation research team, Jonathan Sampson and Joshua Joscelyn. Josh, what's a Humanzee? And why in the world are we talking about this?
Well, first off, let's back up to the 1960s to get a little bit of background.
Okay.
There was this chimpanzee named Oliver. He was a freak. He looked a little different. In fact, he created kind of an international stir, a buzz, if you will, because he was so weird. He looked a little more like a human than some chimps, I guess. He walked upright, like most chimps don't. And he liked to hang out with humans instead of other chimps. He was an outcast. Well, evolutionists took this and said, oh, okay, well, we don't know where he came from. We just know he comes from Zaire somewhere. We don't know who his parents are. Could it be that Oliver is the offspring of some unspeakable relation between a human and a chimp?
And here we are speaking about it.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
But that's what they thought because of their evolutionary mindset. They said, okay, after all, humans and chimps are related, so maybe theoretically this is possible.
Yeah, so in their mind it really would make sense that that's how it happened.
Well, after all this funky monkey loving, fantasizing was taking place, they actually came in and did some real science.
Yeah.
We concluded after the fact that Oliver was just 100% chimpanzee, had 48 chromosomes as they expected of chimpanzees, didn't have 46 like humans, or some transitional variants of that if it was a hybrid. Now we know that this is still being taken around today. People are still claiming that this is evidence for evolution. It's not in the intellectual rings, but on the places where kind of gossip gets spread fast, like on the internet and YouTube, you can find this still being carried around and used as a big evidence for evolution. People just don't get the idea. They don't understand it for some reason that just because two things are similar does not mean they're related. And just because we have a strange-looking chimpanzee does not mean we are related to them.
Similarity doesn't prove that.
No,
Logical fallacy.
But this goes back even further. People have often thought because they look like something, it must be true. Relationship is not proven, however, by similarities. For instance, there was an experiment back in the 1920s. ICR's publication, Acts and Facts, the May issue covers this. They speak of Ilya Ivanov, Professor Ivanov, who was a world-class artificial inseminator. He was supposed to be so good he could artificially inseminate 500 mares with a specimen of just one stallion.
This just got awkward for me, personally. Wow.
He was good at what he did.
Obviously.
But he was the best hope evolutionists had for this experiment, to merge humans and
They
apes.
literally wanted to breed a human and a chimpanzee to prove the evolutionary history.
In a laboratory.
Thankfully, that was done artificially. Go ahead.
So the Soviet Union funded him, and he set out to prove through experimentation that humans and chimps are more related to each other than apes are with one another.
That's disturbing. But they really believed that apes and humans were more closely related than the apes were to other apes.
That's what they thought.
Unreal.
Well, there was a much larger, activity taking place under or behind the scenes here.
Agenda.
These guys were atheists. They're trying to push this atheist agenda. In their own words, they thought that if they could get the orangutans back together with the yellow race, the chimpanzees back together with the white race, and the gorillas back together with the black race, that these branches would meet again and produce offspring, validating evolution, validating atheism, and changing the whole scope of things. All their research actually failed, though. All their tests did not give them successful results. But that was not enough to dispel this crazy religious idea that we're related. They still, what they concluded from this was, well, too much evolution must have taken place. Because we really believe in our heart of hearts that we are related. And if we can't confirm it with this method, well, then evolution's still true.
So science disproves it, but they still believe it.
Bottom line is it failed.
Wow. All of the so-called cavemen are dealt with in a book called Bones of Contention by Marvin Lubenow. Great book available at drdiner.com. My dad also covers this in his seminar series, seminar number 2, right in the middle. He talks about the so-called cavemen. There's never been one missing link.
No.
Never been one transitional form.
We're not monkeys.
Exactly, and that's the whole point, is we are not animals. It's not, evolutionists claim we're just a highly evolved animal. No, we are made in the image of God. We are separate, we are distinct than all the other animals that there are. There's never been a hybridization of these two chimpanzees and humans. Never been a Humanzee. We are different. Hey, I want to thank you for joining me for Creation in Common Sense. I hope you'll always use creation science for evangelism. God bless.